All right, we're back for episode 8. And as I promised, we're going to be doing CRUD operations. So let's go ahead and get in quick and start setting up our create, read, update, and delete routes. All right, here we go. Back at it again. All right, so let's open up our project again. So we're going to go ahead and open all of it up. Perfect. I'm going to make this smaller because I forgot to do that last video. Sorry about that. Okay. So let's get back into our router for starters. So we'll open up the note router here. And so let's start building out each of these. So we'll start with create. So create, we're going to do const note data is equal to request dot body. We're going to say console dot log note data. Actually, I'm tripping. All right, then we're going to put our try, boom, catch, error. I'm going to go ahead and while this is empty, I'm just going to do this on all of them. It's all about speeding up the process here, you know? Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So back to our top one for create. So we're going to say, we're going to try const note is equal to new note with note data. We're going to say await note dot save. So we're going to take our note model. We're going to pass the data we got from our request into that note model, which will create a note here, and then you just save that to the database. Pretty straightforward. We're going to say response dot status 201 dot send, and then you're just going to pass back the note that you created. Now, if there is an issue, we're going to say response dot status 400 dot send error. Perfect. So let's fix this indentation a little bit. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So that should work just fine. So we'll save that. Let's go ahead and open up our start MongoD again. And then we're going to go here. And we're going to npm start. We're going to test this as we go, so we don't have to go through and test everything right away. So let's also open up our Robo3T here. You'll see because we set up an index, it went ahead and note app. Yep. It went ahead and created the notes. So we need a user's ID. So we're going to call it, we're going to get this one. We're going to edit document. So we're just going to copy this here, copy. Then we're going to hide that for a few minutes here. So this is one I created and one of my past ones. So let's open up Postman now. Open it up. Perfect. So we're going to do a new post request. So we'll go to whatever you set your local host to. Oh, come on. Notes, create. So then we're going to go to our body and code. So we're going to say user ID is that. And then we're going to say notebook ID is equal to starter. And then we're going to say note title is equal to our first note. And we're going to say note content. This is our first note in the app. So that should, in theory, do it. So let's watch. Hit send. Ooh, that's not good. Oh. What happened there? I missed a step somewhere here. Oh, where did that underscore come from? That it would be Y. There it is. There's our new note. All right, so make sure you watch what you type. So that's our first note. So let's go ahead and throw same notebook. So we're going to say note v2. This is our second note in the app. Send, and then note v3. This is our third note in the app. All right, perfect. Great, so now we got a few notes in there. So if you go into the database here, hit reload, and you've got all your data there. You have created on, updated on, all those things, which is great. Everything's set exactly the way we expected. User ID and the notebook ID, which is perfect and is not deleted, obviously, because we haven't deleted it yet. So we'll go ahead and hide that momentarily. And then we're going to come in here and we're going to deal with edit. So this one we'll actually have to go back into our note model to add in a couple statics in there, but we'll get to that here in a second. So we're going to say try const note update is equal to request.body. Oh, that's why it's okay. So it was an autocomplete that messed it up. So I didn't type that. So we're going to say const note equals await note.edit. Oh, not note. Edit note is equal to note update, or well, you're passing in note update. So what that's doing is it's taking this and putting it in here, which will pass it into our note static in here for edit, and this will become that. All right, and we'll say if not note, so if there's an issue, return response dot status 401 send error could not update your note. Okay. After that, we'll say response status 201 send the note. No, I probably don't need that. I can probably just send the note. That. Perfect. And then if there's an error, obviously we're going to say response status 400 send error. Perfect. Is that right? It looks pretty good to me generally. Yeah, that should be it. All right, so now we need to jump into our route or our model and write that guy out. Where are we gonna write out here? So this is finding the note and updating. Okay. So we're gonna say const ID is equal to mongoose types object ID. So because we're searching note underscore ID, because we're searching by the actual identifier created by mongoose or mongo, you have to make sure it's in that proper type. If it's not, you'll just keep getting zero results. It won't fail. You just won't get any results, which you don't want. Okay, so we're gonna do const updated note is equal to await note.update 1. We're going to do underscore ID is ID. So the way an update 1 works is that the first bracketed stuff is how you search for what you want to update. So we're searching for a note with the ID of the note we're passing in. And then we're going to say note title is note.note title, and then note content. Oops. I don't know if you really need to put this in print or in quotes, but I do anyways, just to be safe. Note.note content. Perfect. All right. We'll go down here, and then we're going to say if not updated note, throw new error. Error is we are sorry we couldn't update your note. Okay. Return updated note. Updated. Yeah, that's right. Okay. I think that should do it. Let's give it a shot. So we're going to create a new one here. Or actually, let's duplicate this. That'll be easier. Get rid of that. So this is not a post, this is a put. We're gonna put, we're gonna change this to edit. Okay, we're gonna go into body. So this one's a little different. So we have a note title. Let's go ahead and grab. We'll go ahead and grab our first note. So you need to grab this. So we're gonna copy value, and so we're gonna do. Oh come on. Underscore ID. Paste that in there. You can get rid of that objective. ID. Like that. Oops. Okay. And then we're going to do, we can get rid of this row. And so right now our note is starter, or is our first note. This is our first note in the app. So we're going to say, oh, come on. Our first note edited. And we're going to say this is our first note in the app, and it was edited. All right, let's pull this guy up. Make sure we don't see any errors popping up. We'll hit send. Nothing happened there. I saved both. Yeah. Send again. Let's make sure that didn't actually update. Sometimes it's easier when you're just trying to read. No, that's not updating. Okay. So let's take a look and see what we did here. Okay, so we figured out what's going on here. That is what's going on. That was a really weird one, and you know, just silly. So let's save it and let's see if that'll actually work this time. Send. Perfect. So you're gonna get a little bit of a different response on an update. It's just gonna tell you how many rows it found and how many were modified. And then if it wasn't okay or it errored, it's going to have a 0 there. So let's take a look at our database here. If we reload this, our first note edited, this is our first note in the app, and it was edited. So edit works. So let's go ahead, move on to the next piece, which is delete, which is really straightforward. So let's start here. I'll start back in our route for that. Okay, so we're going to say try. Already copy and paste that const node ID. So we're just going to be passing a node ID into this. So we're going to say body. Again, all of this will be behind authorization. So, whoa. Again, some weird autocorrect lately. Okay. So we'll do note const note is equal to await note dot delete note ID. Perfect. And then we're going to say if not note, return response dot status 401 send error. Not delete your note. If it errors, we're going to say response dot status dot no 400 send error. And if none of that goes wrong, we say response status 201 send note. Again, that's really not doing anything, it's just sending us so we can get a little bit of feedback in the browser, okay, or the app. All right, so now we have to jump into our model and write that real fast. So we're going to say console.log equal to note. No, what am I doing? Lose my mind here a little bit. I'm just going to say var ID equals mongoose dot types dot object I lowercase d. Then we're going to do note ID. So we pass that in. We're going to say const note equals await note dot update 1. And we're going to say basically the same thing we said before. Yeah, so let's just copy this. Boom, ID. And we're going to say deleted equals true. Save that. And then we just say if not note, throw new error. We are sorry, we could not delete your note. Okay. Otherwise, we'll return note. That should do it for that. So let's go ahead and test it. Let's give it a shot, shall we? So we see we have 3 and they're all listed as false. So if we bring this up, we'll do another, we'll duplicate this guy, duplicate. All right, and we're gonna say delete. And then we also need to change this to a delete route. We're gonna body. So we're gonna delete. Which node are we gonna delete is the question. We'll delete the first one. That sounds good. That sounds like a plan. Yep. So we're gonna delete the first one. That's gonna change. And we're not actually deleting it because we're soft deleting it. But so we'll say, yeah, we can just hide these because that's not gonna do anything. So send. Boom. One modified. So let's start this true. So now that's deleted. So when we write our get query here, now you'll see that we'll only pull notes that are deleted of false. So let's get into that one. Knock this out. We'll move on to the next stage. All right. Const user ID is equal to request dot query dot underscore ID. So we're changing it to query because it's a get. So gets don't have bodies. They're not like a post or the other ones above. So we have to change where we get the data from. Oh my goodness. All right. We're gonna say const notes equals wait note.get notes by ID user ID. We're gonna say if no notes. I'm gonna say return response status 401 send error could not find any notes. And then if it works, we're going to say response status 201 dot send notes. So basically this is actually really important for this because this will actually return all the notes so we can deal with them in the app. And then if obviously something goes wrong, send the error. Perfect. That should, I don't think anything else needs to happen there. All right, so we're gonna go here. We're gonna go down to our get note by ID, and this is a pretty straightforward query here. So we're gonna say const notes is equal to await note dot find deleted false, and user ID is equal to user ID. And we're gonna say, yeah, return notes, because what's going to happen here, and the reason we don't do any like checking here to see if it worked, is because worst case it returns a blank object, right? Nothing in there. So we can also handle that on the app side, so not that big of a deal. We can also come back through and clean some stuff up from that perspective, but the goal is to start getting some stuff moving here. So here we go. So now the ID is going to be a different ID, right? So we actually have to get our user's ID, which is here. And so we're going to do a new get, say local host. So we'll say this. Instead of delete, we're going to say just notes. And then the key on the params, again, we're on params now, not body for the get, okay? So we're going to say ID, pass that. And so we should be able to send this, and it should return 2 notes. 2 notes. See, we have V2 and V3, and that's because V1 is deleted. So if we go in here and edit this and change this to false, save, hide that for a second. If you hit this again, you'll get 3 notes back. So now we have our first note edited again. So there you go. Now we have a working route for, start kind of playing with some creating notes in the app. And that's it. Now we can create a note. We can read that note. We can update that note and we can delete that note, and we can kind of start moving on to the next step, which is actually creating the app UI to start creating notes. I hope everybody's enjoying this series. If you are, hit that like button. If you want to hear more about upcoming things, hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn on alerts by hitting the little bell icon next to it. Appreciate everybody's time. Take care of yourselves.